Hi there, today we're going to make your very own hand-knitted blanket for our series of With Love from Us to You. What you're going to need is 3 to 5 skeins or rolls of yarn. The kind of yarn you're going to use is chunky blanket yarn that you can find at your local hobby store. If you use 3 to 4 rolls of yarn, you'll be able to make a nice lap or child's blanket. 4 to 5 rolls of yarn, you'll be able to make a nice couch throw, such as the one that I have here. So let's get started. Okay, the first step you're going to do is you're going to unwind your first roll of yarn that you want to start your blanket with. So you're going to find the end of your yarn, and this is where you're going to start your first long line of loops. So for this blanket, we're going to start off with 25 loops, and this is how you're going to do it. You're going to take the end of your yarn and you're going to knot it, kind of like a sailor's knot, just like this, just like a basic knot. You can tie it too, it's just to start it off. So it's gonna look like this. Then what you're going to do is you're going to put your thumb and your fingers through, and you're going to pull through and take another loop out. That's about the same size as the other one. So you're gonna do the same thing, put your fingers through, grab your yarn to make a loop. So that is our third loop. I'm going to make 25. Once you have your starting line of 25 loops, you're going to start your first row of 25 loops again to continue your blanket. So how you're going to do that is you're going to take your 25th loop that you had finished off with, and you're going to put the tail of your yarn underneath. And you can put the yarn just like this underneath your first line of 25 loops, because you're gonna work your way this way now. So that's what's going to happen is when you get to the end of your 25th loop, you're gonna start working the other end, and then you're gonna start working back to the other end. So to start your first official row, you're going to take that last 25th loop, you're going to take the rest of your yarn, get your fingers again, you're gonna put your fingers through that loop, the 25th loop again, and you're gonna pull out your first loop of that row, okay? So what you wanna make sure though is when you keep going, you wanna make your loops to be generally the same size. That's what's gonna make your blanket nice and tight, and also it's gonna make it look really nice, and you also don't want to pull your loops too much. So just make it about, I would say, 1 to 2 inches, or however much you see fit, but how big your loop is how big the holes of your blankets are going to be. So as you can see here, you're going to take your yarn and you're going to find the hole from your first row, put your fingers through, pull the loop, and then you're going to want to make it the same size as the other loops. So we'll do that again. Find the loop from your first line, put your fingers through and pull through it. You're going to do that again. Find the hole from the first row, take your fingers and pull through. And you're going to do this again 25 times until you get to the end. So once you finish your 25 loops for your first official row, then you're going to continue doing the same thing until you reach your desired length. So we've reached the end to your next 25th loop, and you're going to do the exact same thing that you just did. So to start your next row, you're going to take that 25th loop that you ended off with on the first official row. You're going to move your yarn across, and you're going to take your fingers, You're going to put it through that 25th loop, and you're going to pull a loop that makes about 1 to 2 inches, relatively the same size as your other loops, and you're going to pull. You're going to do that again. Number 2, that's the second loop. Pull through. There you go. Third loop. Pull through. And you're going to keep doing this until you count 25 again. And you finish off your row. Now, generally, you want to make your row as long as you want your blanket. I generally make my blankets between 30 by 40. That is a little bit smaller to medium size, but it's up to you. So you can keep on going until you finish your first roll of yarn, and then I'm going to teach you how to add on the next row of yarn. When you come to the end of the roll or a skein and you want to add another roll of the same color or a different color, this is what you do. So get the new skein or roll and point it out towards your last loop. Now you're going to pull a new loop through. Now don't worry about these tails because you can tie it at the end when you're done the blanket. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull the loops through once again just to connect the new yarn. So you simply do that every single time you run out of a roll or a skein and you want to connect the new yarn to the blanket. So continue to do that, and again, if you run out, you're just going to loop the new yarn through, and don't worry about the loose ends because we're going to fix that in the end. Once you've combined your yarn, whether they're the same color or different, it'll look something like this. Now I'm going to show you a short tutorial on how to end off your blanket. Once you've reached your size that you would like for your blanket, this is how you're going to end it off. So we're just going to imagine that this is your desired size, so it's a long size. So you're going to get to the end of your last row. You want to make sure you keep enough yarn available to be able to close off your blanket. If you find that your yarn is going to run out, then you need to get rid of one row of loops so that you can close it off. So once you get to the end of your blanket, you're going to take that last loop and you're going to get your fingers again. You're going to put it through the loop, and this time you're going to grab that second loop and pull it through. You're going to overlap it. So again, I'll show you. Take the loop, pull their neighbor, and pull the neighbor through. And it's going to start closing off the blanket. So again, put your fingers through, grab the neighboring loop, pull through. And you're going to keep doing this until you reach the end. Again, you're going to have your loop, put your fingers through, you're going to take hold of the neighboring loop, pull it through, and overlap. Pull through, overlap, pull through, overlap. Okay, once you reach the end, to close off your blanket, it's going to look like this. It's gonna create a nice border at the end of your blanket, just like you have at the top of your blanket. So what you're going to want to do here is you're gonna cut off the remaining of the yarn. You're gonna snip it just like that. Then you're gonna take just regular yarn that will, regular thread that matches the color of your blanket. So I would choose white, and just a normal needle for your thread, and you're just going to sew the end off. So we're gonna imagine that this is not here. You're gonna sew this to end it off and make it tight so that the blanket is going to be secure. You're going to do that with the rest of your blanket as well when you have your loose ends, when you had added on your different color yarns. You're just going to snip off the excess yarn and sew with a regular needle and thread to close off any loose threads or yarns that you have on your blanket.